Surah Fatiha for the Shahadat of Islam and for all of your Mahroomin. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلاة وسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سيما بقية الله الأعظم روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. One of the reasons that Allah has appointed the Imams as the Imams is because of their high level of patience, tolerance, and their ability to withstand difficulties more than others. We have a certain level of pain we can tolerate. We have a certain level of difficulties we can tolerate. And you see that after a while we break. We are unable to go forward. We break down. This is just normal for us. But when we look at the lives of the Imams, no matter what difficulty they went through, no matter what hardship they went through, they withstood that. And it's like looking at that, you're like, how can a person live through that? How can a person go through that? And this is all the lives of the Imams. Now, this is on one hand. When we look at it, we'll see that speaking of Imam Hadi, which we are going to speak about, one of the things that you will see happened in history through the lives of the Imams is that when the Imams were at large, meaning when they had freedom, the suppression was on the Shias. Meaning that the government showed all their cruelty and all of their persecution for Shias. They would persecute them. You see that at the time of Imam Zain al-Abidin, at the time of, for example, Imam Baqir and Imam Sadiq. You see the Shias were persecuted. But then when Imam Musa Kazim went to jail and he was imprisoned, then the Shias were let go. The focus was not on Shias anymore. It's like, for example, if the leader of a political party, right, is at large and he's free amongst the people, you see the persecution is on the people, on his followers, on his party. But if the government can imprison the leader, then you know what? Their focus is not on the followers anymore. Why? Because they got the leader. They can keep their eye on the leader. They can control the leader. That's why when you see that Imam Musa Kazim was in jail, that was a relative freedom for Shias. They were let go. And hence, a lot of times the Imams, they will put themselves in persecution in order that the Shias can get out of persecution. A lot of times, that's what you see. Now, when we look at, for example, in the time of Imam Hadi. Now, Imam Hadi, his whole life is only 42 years old. It's only 42 years old. Now, his father is Imam Jawad, who died at the age of 25. He died at the age of 25. And so Imam Hadi, at the time Imam Jawad died, was 8 years old. He was the youngest, of all the Imams, he was the one who became Imam at the youngest age. meaning he became Imam at the age of 8 years. Now, this speech I'm going to give is a little bit more about history, because I think it's good, that we learn the history of our Imams when we are doing their Shahadat or their birth, just so that we can get some actual facts and red meat, to make use of. Brother, you had a question? No, 5. But yes, it's okay. Oh, no, meaning the one who died, all the Imams who died, all right? So now, my friends, let's come to this. Imam Hadi alayhi salam. He is the 10th of our Imam, the son of Imam Jawad, who was 25 years old. Imam Hadi became Imam at the age of 8. Now, the plan was this, that, when, at the time that Imam Jawad was young, they said, you know what, let's kill him. His son is only 8 years old, and you know what, we will take the basis on which imamat is made and corrupt that. What is the basis of imamat? That is the character of the imam, the knowledge of the imam. Like you have knowledge, so that's what happens. And this is why it's very important that Islamic knowledge or knowledge that is from Allah should be kept sacred, should be kept separate from other things, right? And this is usually what happens. But, in my own case, for example, I was asked many times, that, because after I came back from the Hausa, I was advised that why don't you go to a university and get a PhD, right? Which was very easy for me to get. Right? Not only do I need it, I can teach there, But the idea was this, right? I said, why would I do that for? Well, then, you can get a job, you can get a degree and this and that. I said, listen, I learned what I learned in the Hausa, the institution of the Imam. If I go to the university and get a PhD, I don't want to give any credit to them that they taught me anything. I didn't learn anything from them. Right? But at the end, they will take the credit that, hey, you know what? We taught them all he knows. You don't want to give the credit that you gain from imams to kuffar. This is very important in Islamic knowledge. Right? Don't be think by that. Why? Because, this is exactly what was done with Imam Hadi. When Imam Jawad was killed and Imam Hadi was 8, in order to make his image corrupted in the eyes of people, what they did is that they put a teacher on him by the name of Abu Abdullah al-Junaidi. Abu Abdullah al-Junaidi was written letter by the Khalifa that why don't you become the teacher of Imam Hadi. Now, he doesn't need to teach anything. Just become the teacher so that whatever knowledge this kid is going to have and whatever he's going to preach, you can take the credit and we will give you the credit that Junaidi taught him that. That Junaidi is his teacher and he learned everything from Junaidi. Some scholar at that time. This was a whole plan. So when Imam Hadi was 8 years old, he was appointed a teacher by the name of Junaidi. And this person, they thought that he's going to be there, and when the Imam grows up, they can say, well, he's his teacher. You see, that's where he got his knowledge from. So his knowledge is not something divine or something great or something that comes from them. It is something that was taught by this scholar here who happens to be a Sunni. So this was the plan. And so what happened is that after a few years, right, people who commented to Junaidi, he says, we heard that you have Hadi is your student, meaning that this Ali ibn Muhammad is your student. And Junaidi, what are you talking about? He says, yes, we heard that he's under your tutelage. You are his teacher. He said, what are you talking about? It's more like I'm his student and he's my teacher. I'm learning things from him that I never knew. He has the knowledge. I am just an ignorant person in front of him. So he himself destroyed the plans of the Khalifa. He himself said, listen, what are you talking about? This person, his knowledge is something else. And this is why it's very important to keep the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt sacred. Whatever we got is from Allah, from Ahlul Bayt, and we should not give that credit to shaitan or kuffar. No, we don't want any. Even if you want to give us, we don't want it from you. We don't want it from you. Why? Because we only want from Allah. Because you know that they are going to use that to put you down and to create an image that we taught you these things, when they haven't. It's Allah who teaches us the things, and Ahlul Bayt who taught us the things. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So then you see that when he was growing up, at that time he had a relative, Imam Hadi had a relative freedom. He had some freedom. He was able to do things, and he revived the Hawza of Imam Sadiq in Medina. He revived that Hawza. You see, in the time of Imam Sadiq, everyone was a student of Imam Sadiq. Even Abu Hanifa, the Imam of the Sunnis, right? He says, Lawla sanatan la halakan Nu'man. If it wasn't for the 2 years that I, Abu Hanifa, was a student of Imam Sadiq, I would have been destroyed. That's his statement. So everyone learned from Imam Sadiq. Everyone's teacher is Imam Sadiq. And so, but that was for after that, when that freedom was gone and Imam Musa Kazim was persecuted and put in jail, everything stopped. But Imam Hadi revived that. And the school revived. And many people in the time of Imam Hadi became students of Imam Hadi in Medina. The University of Medina was flourishing. Over 450 great scholars were made. If you see the golden age of Islam and the knowledge that was put out there, this was revived by Imam Hadi alayhi salam in Medina. And he became so influential in Medina that the governor of Medina wrote a letter to the Khalifa of the time by the name of Mutawakkil. Now, Imam Hadi had certain kunyah, certain titles. One of those titles is Hadi, that we are saying, the one who guides. The other title is Naqi. Naqi is someone that is pure, someone that is khalis, pure. And the third title of the Imam that is less known, and the Imam wanted it to be less known, because he told his followers, don't take that kunya of mine. Don't even regard me with that kunya. That was Mutawakkil. Now, this name Mutawakkil, Imam didn't want that, because he was asked, why not? He says, because, history will have it such that the things that I did that were good will go to the wrong Mutawakkil. And the persecutions and the craziness that Mutawakkil has done will come to me. So in order to avoid that, he told the Shias, do not call me by the name of Mutawakkil, or do not take that name as mine. So what happened is that this Imam, when you look at it, he now was the governor of Medina sent a letter to Mutawakkil asking him. And Mutawakkil wrote a very pleasant and respectful letter to Imam Hadi and said that we respect you and we have a very high place for you and your family, and we would, there are issues in Medina and people are doing this and that. We would love if you can become our guest in Samarra. Become our guest in Samarra. We want you to become our guest. A very beautiful letter was given to Imam Hadi, respectful, so that all the Shias understand that he is being invited with respect. right? There's no threat or anything, even though the letter came with 300 soldiers, right? Now, if you want to send a letter with respect, you got 300 soldiers, all armed, right? And they're saying, we respectfully invite you. Yeah, and if you don't come, then the threat is out there. So what happened is that Imam Hadi had to go. He went. He knew what was going to happen. Now, until then, Imam Hadi had everything in place. He put everything in place, instilled everything in place. He has shown to people different things, miracles, miracles of knowledge, miracles of things that were happening that were so amazing that the whole city, everyone around were like, knew. It was like the time of the Prophet, when the Prophet showed miracles. And everyone knew that this has to be from Allah, this has to be divine, this has to be something sacred. So what happened is that all of these miracles were shown at that time. And then after that happened, he knew what was going to happen, because later on they are going to bring an image of Imam Hadi that would be corrupted. And people will say that, no, it cannot be, because of what Imam Hadi had laid down. So now, when Imam Hadi was taken from Medina, that was by this ruler by the name of Mutawakkil. Let me talk about Mutawakkil for a little bit, my friends. Now, I don't know if you ever heard this name before, but I assure you, after today, you won't forget him. Right? Mutawakkil, he was a ruler of the Abbasis, from the grandchildren of Harun, Rashid and Mamun Rashid coming down. This Mutawakkil Abbasi was a psycho. Yes, you heard me right. He was a sadist, sadistic. He had psychological issues. I mean, he would put Yazid to shame. He was so cruel, and he was so disturbed. His mind was disturbed. That's how he was. Not just with Ahlul Bayt, with everyone. He was ruthless. He had no limits. He acted inhumanely with everyone. For example, he would bring scorpions into his court and would leave them amongst his courtiers, people in his court. He would keep himself safe, but he would let the scorpions bite his own people. And while they're being stung and they're crying in pain, he would laugh. He would laugh and laugh at the suffering of others. Just like that, in the court. I mean, now you can imagine his mental imbalance. This is a crazy guy. He would do that. He went on to do so many things. For example, he would get wild animals and he would let them eat his own court people. He would choose who. Okay, you know what? It's your turn. You fight the lion. And he would let the lion eat him. And he would laugh all the while. He would just be laughing. Now, you understand this. This is the person, this is Mutawakkil. Even the other khulafa looked at him and says, this guy is crazy. We need to do something about this. You see, and this is something very important for us to understand. Even though the other khulafa were also tyrants and were also cruel, but when you cross the border of insanity and start doing insane and cruel things, then everyone starts getting afraid. The reason is, logically speaking, rational says, the reason why we don't, for example, like people to disobey the law, in any law that we make. Criminals, for example, why do they want them to get in jail fast? Because if criminals or people who don't obey the law or social customs, if they go out of hand, then it leads to anarchy and ultimately destruction of everyone. That fear is what makes everyone obey the law and respect the law. Yes, those people who get out of hand, they said, get them in jail fast. Why do you want to get them in jail? Because if let go, they are going to destroy everyone. That thinking will destroy everyone. It leads there. It leads to anarchy. And anarchy is a human fear. We have that fear. That's why Imam Ali says that a kafir government is better than anarchy. A zalim government is better than anarchy. Why is that? Because, with zulm, there's a focus that you can get rid of. But with anarchy, there is no focus. It leads to destruction of all of us. It destroys all of us. So this Mutawakkil was that sort of a person. He was so crazy that his own son was complaining about him, saying, this, my father is crazy. We need to get rid of him. So many people were doing that. That's why, like even now, for example, when you look at it, you see that. You don't have to be a Muslim to have this sort of hatred for Netanyahu. Everyone sees that this guy has crossed the limits of humanity. This guy is going crazy. And if let go, it's going to now have an effect on all the world. That's why it's non-Muslims who are trying to take him to court, doing these things. Why are they doing that? Because they know anarchy and such disrespect to law and order leads to ultimate and utter destruction. Mutawakkil was one of those people. He was that crazy. Now just imagine if he was like that with his own friends, his son, for example, he would do things that are malicious, that are crazy. He's not dumb. Don't get me wrong, such people are not dumb. No, they're highly smart. They're cunning, malicious, and diabolical. That's how he was. He was able to think deeply and know exactly what to do. That's why he wrote the letter to Imam to Imam Hadi, inviting him respectfully. When he came, it was a whole different situation. It was a whole different situation that Imam Hadi walked into. What was that situation? When he was brought in Baghdad, the first thing that was done is that he was put in a red light area where all the sleazebag and scumbags live. The worst of the worst in any society. You go to a neighborhood, you have that neighborhood that no decent person would be caught there. You see that he was put in that neighborhood with those people in Baghdad. The worst of the worst. And even the people there, they came and apologized to Imam Hadi and said, we are sorry. Why are you here in this neighborhood? This is not a neighborhood for decent people. This is not a neighborhood, but you see Imam Hadi went through that. He kept himself like that. Mutawakkil had this all planned. Even with Ahlul Bayt, there are things that he has said and done in his own court in public. It's in public and we have hadith and the history is there. But sometimes it's very difficult to mention it. Right? Like his insult to Bibi Fatima. Right? He insulted her from the minbar and said things about her that cannot be repeated. About Bibi Fatima. And it was so gross and so disgusting that his own son, Mu'tasim, he protested to that. He said, how dare you say things about Fatima? If you don't regard her as anything, at least regard her as your relative. Meaning she was his aunt. in relationship, because he was trying to make his Arab pride come out. As I don't speak about your own relatives like this. And so when he did that, when he said that, so his son, he said that, Mutawakkil then said something about his son that is so shameful that even everyone, and this is his own son, he threw him under the bus completely. It's not something which is so vulgar that we cannot say it from the member, from anywhere actually. We can't say it. It's so vulgar. But this person was like that. He was vulgar, vile, and so you understand the character now of Mutawakkil. So you remember it very well, because this is who Imam Hadi had to live with all his life. Imam Hadi had to live with this crazy person. This crazy person, what he was doing. He had, for example, Mutawakkil had a gay in his court, a gay guy in his court, that he shaved off the front head of this person, a eunuch, he shaved off the front of his head, right? And he had like sticks and stones in his stomach, like wrapped to his stomach, so he looks fat, like a paunch. And he used to bring them. Whenever Mutawakkil used to feel depressed, he would say, "Come here and make me laugh." Now, I don't know if you got the meaning of that. I don't know if you understood what that meant. You see, what he was trying to do is, in the fake history that Sunnis have written about Imam Ali, they say he was bald and he had a big stomach. This hateful speech about Imam Ali was that he was bald and he had a big paunch stomach. It's written down in history by Sunnis to describe Imam Ali as a person who is overweight and ugly. To describe that. So this person was emulating and pretending to be Imam Ali in his court, to make him laugh. My friends, this is Mutawakkil. Mutawakkil is a complete psycho of history. Even amongst the cruel tyrants of the Muslim world, his status is something else. His status is something else. So Imam Hadi had to live with such a person. Imam Hadi. Now what did he do with Imam Hadi? Of course, when he was brought, Imam Hadi was imprisoned, and then so and so he lived with this person. A lot of things. My friends, Imam Hadi was brought to a gathering of wine and alcohol. He was made to sit there, and he was given a glass of wine in his hand. Imagine, the Imam of the time was given a glass of wine in his hand. And they were laughing. Imam Hadi. Imagine the patience of the Imam. This is something that is, but there's a goal for the Imam. That's why he's doing that. I mean, there's a reason Allah wanted him to go through this. He sat there. Later on, he cried about it, and I'll tell you that in a minute why. Why he cried. Right? And then, after that, many things he did. I'll just mention one more thing, right, regarding what he used to do. Mutawakkil was on a ride around town, so he said, "I want Al-Hadi to come here." And then he made him walk and run barefoot in front of his ride. Mutawakkil was on the horse, and Imam Hadi was running barefoot in front of his horse throughout the city. I mean, this is how you make fun of people, impugn them, put them down, make them look disgusting. Imam Hadi went through this. Imagine, I told you the patience of the Imam is at a very high level. We can't handle these things. This disrespect, this amount of disrespect that was shown. And when Imam Hadi went through this, he went through the town like that, he came to the last point where they stopped. Imam Hadi said that the camel of Saleh, we Ahlul Bayt are much more respectful than the camel of Saleh. Allah has given us a lot more izzat and sharaf than the camel of Saleh. Because when the camel of Saleh was killed, in 3 days, Allah punished the killers. And this was an allusion to the fact that this mutawakkil will die in 3 days. He will die in 3 days, and it so happened by the 3rd day, mutawakkil died. He was killed by his own son, Muntasir. He was killed by his own son, beheaded by him. And Imam advised his son not to do that. Imam Hadi advised Muntasir, don't kill your father. Anyone who kills his father, Allah will cut short his life. You see, that's one of the things in Islam. If you disrespect your parents, your life is shortened. You will die early. That is a fact. If you disrespect your parents. If you kill your father, then you'll die right away. And he told his son that you will die. But he didn't listen. He says, I have to kill him. This guy's crazy. This guy's wicked, diabolical. And so he killed him. And as the Imam said, he died in less than a few months. His son also died. Out of strange reasons. No one knows why he died, but he just died. Anyway, after that, Imam lived for 3 more years. But at that time, he had some freedom. And in that freedom, so many things were done. That's it, my friend. And you see that his main idea was to bring a situation around that Imam-e-Zaman could be born. And he lived and made sure that now that the Imam and Imam Hassan Askari has a wife and that he will have a child and the promise of Allah is going to become true. He bore everything in order that this promise becomes true. That's it, my friends. Imam Hadi alayhi salam. Tonight we are commemorating his Shahadat. Few things I will say about Imam Hadi alayhi salam. You know, when they gave him, when they brought him into the Majlis, into the sitting gathering of alcohol and wine, Imam says that after that I couldn't stop crying. After that, I couldn't stop crying. And he gave the reason also. Why couldn't you stop crying after that? He's because when I was in that gathering, I was thinking of Bibi Zainab. I was thinking constantly, she came to me that she was taken to the court of Yazid. And with that iffat that she has, that chastity that she has, she was made to sit amongst these criminals. I felt like that when I could see the zulm that she had gone through. Bibi Zainab gone through zulm, and he cried every day. He cried thinking of Bibi Zainab after that. It was so hard on him. It is said that they brought Imam Hadi and they took him to a room and they put the poison in front of him. They put the poison in front of him to drink. Imam Hadi drank of the poison, and the poison now started burning him. The burning of that effects of the poison was such that he was perspiring from everywhere. The veins of his face and his eyes were popped out, and they could see that pressure that his body is going through. in that pain that he was going through, Imam Hadi was just like so hard to breathe. It was so hard to even take some air in. He was just like, didn't know how to deal with that pain. Outward pain that he was in, but that inside pain, he was thinking of Bibi Zainab, he was thinking of Imam Sajjad, how they were put in. They were in that situation. It is said that Imam Sajjad, he heard some people talk and he started crying. And they asked him, Imam, why are you crying for? He said, I just heard these people, the soldiers who were there, they didn't speak Arabic, they were speaking some other language. So he's understood them. He said they were saying in their own language, they were saying that tomorrow we are going to drop this wall on the Ahlul Bayt. We are going to kill all these women and children. This was their plan at that moment. Imam Sajjad was crying. He remembered that and he started to cry. Imam Hadi, in that pressure, he was crying, but then eventually his life gave away and he died. And as he died, they brought him coffin. They brought him a shroud so that they can give him ghusl, that they can give him a funeral. Imam Hadi, I will just ask you, your grandfather Hussein in Karbala is lying without kafan. Imam Sajjad is watching. No one is able to do anything for him. In fact, they just gave him. They didn't give him anything. When Imam Sajjad came back to bury Imam Hussein, he asked them, if you have any cloth, wrap him in a cloth and put him in the grave. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون يا محمود بحق محمد يا علي بحق فاطمة يا علاء بحق علي يا فاطر السماوات بحق فاطمة يا محسن بحق حسن يا قديم الأحسان بحق حسين. Allah, give us the tawfiq to be on the right path. Give us the wisdom to understand your guidance. Haste the reappearance of our Imam. Make us his helper when he comes. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. Matam Hussein.